at outset, let me thank organizers and particularly VRSI for giving me this opportunity. So basically, screening by definition is the presumptive identification of unrecognized disease or defect by application of test, examination or other procedures which can be applied rapidly to sort out apparently well person who probably have a disease from those who probably do not. So screening is a program to reduce the risk of disease and not the guarantee of diagnosis or the cure. So why is screening required for diabetic retinopathy? I think first lecture by Dr. Natarajan has obviously added all, has made my job easy. Basically, disease should be a public health problem, as he has enumerated very rightly. We do have evidence that projected increase in diabetes in India will be almost 150%, 80% of patients who have diabetes for 10 years or more will have some amount of retinopathy, and diabetic retinopathy often has no early warning signs. Early detection in asymptomatic individual is possible. As you see here, we have a signs, but vision is still good. And if you treat early, you can change the course of the disease, and this is one of the important inclusion criteria. Is there a need for screening? Yes, around 63% of individuals in rural area and 75% in urban area never had eye examination by diabetic retinopathy. That is what our South India study shows. And tele-KAP, what we did, it shows that 97% they have heard of diabetic mellitus, but only 32% they know about diabetic retinopathy, and less than that they know about treatment options. So there are two types of screening we perform, either opportunistic, high risk. Basically, opportunistic screening is a screening of diabetic retinopathy as a part of comprehensive eye examination, and it's the ideal screening method and has a wide coverage. As against high-risk screening is targeted screening. Typical example is diabetic retinopathy screening camps, and it gives generally high yield of diabetic retinopathy. So basically, this opportunity screening and high-risk screening are complementary to each other. So as far as different models are concerned, you have ophthalmologist-based model, ophthalmologist-led model, and computer automated models. Optometrist-led model or other technicians involving basically specificity and sensitivity of this screening modality depends on their training, and still it is variable, so it's not recommended at present. The ideal model is ophthalmologist-based model where dilated retinal evaluation using indirect ophthalmoscopy was done by ophthalmologists or trained retinologists. However, the number of ophthalmologists available is a limited factor in initiating this screening methodology in Indian scenario. So basically what we do most of us now is ophthalmologist-led model is basically but something like telescreening, where paramedical staff acquires data or images using fundus camera or smartphone-based cameras, and then this data or images are transferred using satellite or internet to a base hospital where ophthalmologists can interpret these images and pass on the guidelines for treatment to the at a site of screening. So basically when you compare indirect ophthalmoscopy and photography, so photography has a better sensitivity and specificity and probably is the best tools for screening. Yes, whether is it accurate? Yes, telescreening is fairly accurate. Our analysis and our publication also reveal that one. It is accepted by patient, and also it is significantly cost reduced by almost 60%. It is less expensive compared to base hospital screening. So how do we transfer these images? So basically there are two options. You store and forward these images. So data and images are captured, they are stored and subsequently forwarded and retrieved by remote ophthalmologists. Real time where data images are captured and simultaneously seen by remote ophthalmologists, and at the same here advantages again ophthalmologists can pass on his advice immediately. So preferred method for high risk screening is real time, and after opportunity screening it should be store and forward method. So how many fields are generally needed for diabetes screening when you take a photograph? There are different studies have used 7 field, 3 field, 1 field. We analyze again our data and have some trial run, and in case of particular screening for diabetic retinopathy, probably there is no significant difference between single field and 4 field photographic techniques. Do we really need dilatation of the pupil for non-mydriatic cameras? I would say probably no. But when we analyze what we realize, if you use a dilatation, the non-gradability of images was reduced from 29% to 8%. And remember, these all non-gradable images, if you have, ophthalmologist has to go personally and examine these funduses. So that's the added burden. When to screen? Generally, type 1 diabetes with age of onset below 30 years, probably first screening should be done at 3 to 5 years, and subsequent screening should be yearly interval. But in patients where age is more than 30 years, the first screening, first fundus examination should be done at the time of detection of the diabetes, and then yearly examination should be adequate enough. As far as identification of population at the risk, what we do in as a protocol, we follow something like we have NGOs helping us. We have involved the local leaders, efficient and qualified field staff. We go house to house, make people aware that availability of camp is coming, that information is passed on, and get this patient for nearby camp. The best location, again, what you have, general hospitals, where a lot of patients are coming up, and staff there can make people aware of and tell them to avail these facilities. We have fixed schedule for screening camp organized. The protocol, what we follow is basically, once the patients are come, they are registered. First is a blood pressure checkup for all these patients, followed by vision checkup, slit lamp examination using a handheld slit lamp here, followed by height and weight. Shear stone meter is used for scanning, intraocular pressure examination, followed by history taking. And we prefer dilated examination, ophthalmologist based. All patients undergo indirect ophthalmoscopy examination by trained retinologists. And most important part is counseling. It can be either one-to-one or as a group. We can counsel them, particularly patients those are having a vision-threatening diabetes or some amount of diabetes probably, and those required examination or treatment will be subsequently referred for base hospital. As far as ophthalmologist-led model is concerned, that I think Arvind also follows same model. The van goes, we do examination on this van, and these images subsequently was transmitted via satellite to base hospital, where ophthalmologist is available, who is grading those images, looking at it, and directly he can have communication with technician or patients, and patient can be advised accordingly. So the road ahead to go with newer technologies, miniaturization of diagnostic equipments, and we have better and faster telecommunication. What we are looking at, comprehensive eye checkup with the labs on the wheels. Everything can be done at the base. We looking at something like automated diabetic retinopathy diagnosis is a computer-based program, something you can have kiosk like this. Patient can just walk in, sit in front of camera, and at the end, system will generate a report something like, congratulations, you do not have diabetic retinopathy, see you again after 1 year, or something like you have non-sight threatening diabetes, control your blood sugar and blood pressure and see you again after 6 months, or some alarm sign, something like you have sight threatening diabetic retinopathy, please visit ophthalmologist immediately. So to conclude, screening of diabetic retinopathy is instrumental in reducing the burden of blindness due to retinopathy. To evaluate a screening program, one should look into the validity of the screening test in terms of sensitivity, specificity, the reliability, and the cost per case detected and coverage of the screening. And the telescreening can be considered as an efficient screening model as it satisfies all these criteria. Thank you very much for patient hearing.
Thank you, Dr. Pramod. And I invite Dr. Jagat Ram.